Hello, beautiful star seeds. Let's see if I can make this video again for the third time. This is what happens when you try to make a video and your daughter's up and awake and running around like a crazy pants. She keeps, craziness. Anyway, I hope that everyone is having a beautiful day on this crazy January 6th. We told you, all of us spiritual people told you guys, told everybody that it was going to get crazier. And it is. It is getting crazier, isn't it? So, I want to talk about what's going on in the world right now and kind of explain my perspective on it. I'd like to go into a little bit about kind of my perspective of what kind of girls go through, women go through, girls go through molding into women, and about your appearance and yourself, how you feel about yourself growing up, and then maybe get into a little bit of some sex stuff, some sex conversations. Maybe. We'll see where that goes. So, first things first, there's chaos going on right now, right? So we're seeing right now that the Capitol has been a huge topic today. There's a lot of protesters at the Capitol today. And right now, what I am seeing, and I just want to say, for me, I talk a lot about in my other videos about being the observer. And I was realizing that today, that not only do we need to be observers in our own minds and our own thoughts, but we need to be observers of what is going on in the world. What is going on in the world is a reflection as a collective of our inner reality. So let me say that again. We are all connected collectively, consciously. We are all connected, and we have created this reality that we're in. So when people say one person can make a change, it is true, because that one person can be the match that lights all the other matches in the world. That one person thinking differently and spreading whatever, whether it's love, whether it's hate, can spread like wildfire. So realizing that if you're having a reaction from what is going on currently in the world, you need to take a deeper look at yourself. Why are you having a reaction? Why are you feeling triggered to what's going on? Either you're in fear about something, you're in fear that someone is going to get into presidency that you don't want for whatever reason. You're scared of some outcome, you're in fear of an outcome, whatever that is. Really evaluate that. And the biggest thing we can do right now is have kindness for one another. We are in this together. And that might sound so freaking cliche, but it is real. If we decide that we're like, fuck everybody, and I'm not going to listen to what you say, and I only have my opinion, we're going absolutely nowhere. We will go nowhere, and we will destroy each other and ourselves. Plain and simple, that's what will happen. So I challenge you to be the observer of what's going on, and do not join in the chaos. Spread love, not hate. I want you to think of this analogy for a second, and that is, I've seen this before, and I really, really, truly believe it makes so much sense. If you take two kinds of ants, you take the red ants, and you take the black ants. Were you outside? You're all cold. And you put them in a jar, and you shake them up. And they start fighting, and they start attacking each other. Because they think that whatever, the other one started the attack or whatever happened in that jar, they're on top of each other, they're fighting each other. Who actually caused that? Wasn't it the person that was shaking the jar? Not actually the people. That is what's, in my opinion, wholeheartedly, that is what's going on right now. The jar is being shaken and shaken, and so many people are falling for it. So many people are like, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that. Why are you doing this? Pointing fingers. Instead of looking at it and going, man, like, we need a change. Like, this system that we have in place is not working. It's clearly on both sides. We're not feeling like it's working. And that's the thing. We have white and we have black, We have all this race issue. We have all this gender issue coming out. We have Republican, Democrat issues coming out. There is so much separation that is happening. And it's being forced in a way. Like, I feel like someone has a hand in it, for sure. And you can think that's conspiracy, but I think that honestly, the people that think that's conspiracy, I think that you're living in fear. And I'm not saying, if you're having a reaction from this, then there you go. You can say it's conspiracy, but all you have to do is look at the past. There are many civilizations. There are many things that have happened in our time period that have shown this to be true. And I'm not going to say Hitler. Everyone says Hitler. But there are other leaders. There are other situations where people try to take power, And I think it's a little ridiculous that we have these, on a less spiritual note, we have these politicians, these career politicians who are being paid thousands of dollars to make decisions for us as a collective. It doesn't make sense. They live completely different lives than we do. They have all of this money, and so they have no clue what it is to live a life without that. They're putting all these restrictions on us, but they have no idea what that's doing, really, because it's not affecting them. People are losing their businesses. People are about to lose their houses if they haven't already, their livelihoods, their businesses. And granted, the universe is doing this the universe isn't doing this. All of this is happening for us. But at the same time, there is still a human side of it that we have to be aware of. There is still the side of something is not right. Something is not in balance. And when you build something on a foundation that is uneven or cracked, or it eventually will fall, right? And I think that's what we're witnessing right now. We are witnessing the fall of something that was built on uneven ground. So it can be scary, you can be afraid of it, but I challenge you just to be the observer of it. Be the observer. Do not spread hate, spread love. There's so much going on that's just, if you really pay attention to both sides. I honestly, I read when I'm only mostly on Instagram, but I was kind of going on Facebook today because I'm just curious, like, what is everyone saying? And yeah, it's insane the amount of like hate and like, I've done it before in the past. I've done it on social media where I reposted something that might have been negative and it caused a reaction. It's like, what is the point of that? What is the point? I get spreading awareness and I get like having your opinion, and that's fine. But sometimes you need to reevaluate your opinion. Is it helpful, or is it hurting? So, yeah, I just, I think it's interesting, like, with everything that's going on, you know, like I said, the money gap, it's like, a lot of people are relying on these stimulus checks. And now we're finding out that a lot of people are not even going to get them for a while. Not until they file their taxes. A lot of people aren't going to get them until they get their checks. They're going to get checks instead of direct deposit. And I'm one of those people. And I won't lie, at first I was kind of like a little frustrated because, you know, I could use that money. I'm not going to lie. I could use it for paying off a lot of my credit cards. I have fallen into the credit card hole. I won't sit and lie. I'm not perfect. But this year, that's what my goal is financial freedom. But thinking that someone else is going to save me, someone else is going to fix that problem that I put myself in, that's the problem, guys. We have relied so much on this system. We have relied so much on other people trying, you know, saving us, the savior complex. We've even done this with they're coming out with more stuff about aliens, and we're like, I really hope the aliens just come here and save us. The point is, they're not going to, because we have to save ourselves. So we have to realize, with this money, with everything, like, we need to rely on ourselves. And how do we do that? That's the process, and you have to figure that out for yourself and for your life. I'm not going to go into that too much. Oh, good. You got some loud toys. Okay. So, I think that's all I really want to say about the political aspect that's going on in the world and just everything. And just know that I really truly believe everything that's happening is for our highest good, for our best good, and you really have to look at it that way. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just trying to help you and tell you what's helped me, because this is what has helped me. You putting it down? So, like I said, challenge yourself to be the observer. So, let's see. Okay. Next, I'm going to talk about self-esteem as women and as girls growing up in this world that we are living in. So, for me personally, growing up, I always felt like I was the outcast. I never felt like I fit into a group. I always felt like I was kind of friends with a lot of different people, but I never fit into one certain group. You know, I had like my really good friends here and there, but I was never really like in a group. Maybe I was in a stoner group in like sophomore year in high school. But I never really had super deep connections with people. There's like two good friends as I got into high school that I could feel like now that I still conversate with on a regular basis, that I would feel like those were deep connections. And that's not a bad thing, but when you're growing up, you feel like you want to fit in, right? And I'm going to specifically talk about girls just because I know from my experience. I don't really, obviously I don't know from a man's or a boy's experience, but this is what I experienced. When I was probably like, I was about my son's age right now, about 10. I remember getting along with the boys so well. I always got along with the boys. I was a tomboy. I was such a big tomboy. And I remember girls were so mean to me because the boys liked me. And I didn't realize at the time, like, what was going on. Why were these girls being so mean to me? And obviously that's stuff that you go through when you're younger. But, I ended up chopping my hair off. I actually wanted to look like Posh Spice. But then I ended up looking even more like a tomboy. And so then the boys kind of, for a while, stopped liking me because I kind of did look like a boy. I did have boyfriends. Like, I had boyfriends all through elementary, all through middle school, all through high school. So that was never an issue. Not that I'm trying to brag, but I'm just saying that I always got along with guys so well, and I always struggled with having like that female connection. And I remember this one girl, she was so mean to me, and it took me forever to realize why, because like I thought she was cool and she was older than me, and it was because one of the older boys liked me and she liked him. Well, he didn't like her. He liked me. So she didn't like me, and she was really mean to me. Anyway, my point that I'm getting with this, let's move on a little bit. I remember wanting so badly to not be me. I remember, and honestly, this has come a long ways into my adulthood, is like always feeling like I wanted to be somebody else. And I feel like with social media now so prevalent in society, we do that so much. We do this compare game. Like, I want to be so much like this other person, and I wish I looked like her. And we're constantly doing things to our bodies. We're constantly putting as much makeup as we can on. We're constantly tanning, coloring our hair, doing our nails. And I'm not saying any of that is bad. I'm not saying that it's bad to do any of that. I'm just saying that I think a lot of us become overly obsessed. And I'm saying me. And I know that other people in my life in the past could attest to this. My ex-husband. I am a cosmetologist. So when I went to hair school, I went crazy, and I did my hair all the time. I was doing my nails. I was obsessed with tanner, because I think that I went through that phase when I was younger that I felt like when I was all made up and done up, like, guys were more into me and I got more attention, and I liked it. That's another reason why I drank so much when I was younger. I started drinking when I was in middle school, and I did it because I was super shy. That's why I started drinking. And I would drink in school. The things I look back and I'm like, oh my God. But you know what? I realized that was a lesson for me. And so I have thought negatively about it in the past, but I'm moving on from that. So, I drank alcohol because it made me more outgoing. It made me like more fun and bubbly instead of just trying to be that way. How about you have a drink of mine? You want a drink of mine? Cheers. She's trying to open a soda or a water. So anyway, I constantly tried to change who I was. And like I said, as I got older, I did fake tanning, and I was wearing makeup all the time. Anytime I started feeling really sad about myself, I would change my hair color. Because I felt like, I don't know, that would make me feel better because people would compliment me, or people would notice something about me. And it gave me this fulfillment, this outside fulfillment. But it always covered up this inside hurt this inside pain. And I think the biggest thing that I wanted to convey about all of this is, it's so funny, I look back, and you know the people that were so different? As we get older, those are the people that are popular. Those are the people that are cool, to me anyway. I don't know about everybody else, but the people that stand out, the people that are creative, the people that do something different from everybody else, the people that walk their own path, those are the people, to me, that become the cool people. And for so long, I was chasing being like everyone else. You know, I have thought many times, like, I wish I could go back and be myself. And so now I have that option, obviously. And that's why I'm coming out with more videos, and I'm speaking my truth more, and what I believe, and I'm not doing that to change anyone's perspective. I simply do it. This is basically like a video diary, really, is what this has become for me. And if it helps somebody along the way, cool. But that's pretty much what it amounts to for me, is I'm just trying to help people and get some shit off my chest, right? So my whole point with that was, you know, there becomes this obsession of changing who we are. And I just want you to know, like, you don't need to change who you are. Be more of who you are. So I used to be so like, oh my gosh, I want to be tan and I want to have dark hair, and yeah. Or sometimes I was like, I want to be tan, I want to have red hair, and I want to be tan, and I always wanted to be tan. And I would change my hair to purple and green, and I probably had every color under the sun. And you know what? If you've noticed, My hair is dark. Well, turns out my natural hair color is this dark, and I was trying to color it this dark and covering it all the time, but it's, in actuality, it was this dark. Because when I was younger, it was more like my daughter's hair right here. Just a little crazy. It was more like her hair, and so I have never even seen my natural hair in years. Like, even in high school, I was coloring my hair. Like, towards the end of high school. So, anyway, my whole point with that was just, like, I really feel like you should just be your real self. Like, embrace your white skin. Embrace your green eyes. Embrace your freckles. I'm talking to myself right now. I hated my freckles when I was younger. I hated them so much. I hated my teeth. You probably can tell when I'm talking. My son calls it my snaggle tooth. My snickle fritz. But that has become who I am. I've struggled as I've gotten older. I've had 3 kids. I breastfed every single one of them. I've struggled with my boobs. But I have embraced the fact that I have a small chest. And you know what? That doesn't mean that, like, if you've got a breast augmentation and you feel like you need to do that, good for you. Like, you feel like you need to go get your eyebrows done. You need to get them tattooed on. Power to you. Like, I'm not against any of that. I just feel like we've become so obsessed with it. And if you're doing it just to make yourself feel better, I'm just saying, like, it's probably not going to make you feel better. It's really not. And I think that's probably why I do a lot of my videos where I look like a freaking wreck. Because I want to be so real that, you know, I don't ever want to be fake again. And I was so fake. I was such a fake person. And I wouldn't say I was a fake person, with my interactions with people, but it was just my appearance. My appearance was very fake, and lots of people actually said that they didn't want to approach me because I looked like a bitch. Like, people told me that in beauty school my first day, and it was because I was so quiet. I was so quiet, but like I said, I used alcohol to, no, honey, you can have a drink of this. Honey, this little dirty. Anyway, so I also wanted to talk about one more thing. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you. Okay, we're not going to talk about sex like that, but I want to talk about something that might be a little uncomfortable, but it's just an observation that I've had and something that, you know, I've dealt with a little bit in my life and stuff, and that is, here, we're going to walk around for a second, so hopefully this doesn't shut the video off. So, what I wanted to say about the whole situation with sex. So, and I'm talking purely, my daughter is losing it. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna dump this out for you. She wants this sparkling water and she's gonna have it. I know, babe. Hold on with me here, peeps. Okay, ready? Let's go bring this to the table. Right here. You wanna just take it? Alright, whatever. She's probably gonna spill it everywhere. Anyway, I wanted to have a conversation about sex, and this is purely, like I said, from my standpoint and my view, what I've experienced in my life, and that simply is having this weird thing about not wanting to talk about sex, not being comfortable with masturbation. I think a lot of women, it's getting a lot better, but when I was younger, obviously, like, it's not really talked about. I don't remember in sex ed them ever talking about masturbation for women, or for girls. They never talked about that. And so from a very, very young age, I did masturbate. And I didn't know what it was. You know, I knew it felt good, and I knew that it made me feel better when I was really upset. And I ended up actually using it a lot to make myself feel better as a child. Not everyone knows that, but guess what? You do now. It's out there now. Anyway, I used that to make me feel better. But I felt so dirty about it because it's been perfectly okay, and I'm not blaming men for this because I'm not like that, but it's been perfectly okay for guys to masturbate. It's not a big deal. Yeah, right, Charlie? It's been perfectly okay in society for men to talk about stuff like that and to talk about sex and, like, whatever, but it's not necessarily as socially acceptable. I feel like it's getting better, like I said, but I just wanted to kind of have this conversation because Matt might watch this and get mad at me for saying this, but, we've had issues in our relationship where he has watched porn, and I watch porn. I'm not going to lie and say I don't, and some people are like, that's so evil, it's so bad. And we've had conversations, and, like, I got upset with him because he was watching porn. And to me, I feel like I don't think there's a really bad problem with watching porn. I just think there's, like, a balance. Like, and it wasn't like he was watching it too much. It was just kind of like just some sort of, like, issue with myself. And I just told everybody that we watch porn. Not that he probably really cares, and most people, I think, know that he does. Maybe not me, but, I mean, most women don't admit it. They don't admit that they watch porn. They don't admit that they masturbate. And I think that there needs to be more of, like, maybe an open dialogue about that. Because it's perfectly normal and it's perfectly okay. And, in my past relationships, like, I hid that I did that. I hid that I masturbated, and I was embarrassed. And as a child growing up, I got caught doing it, and it was really embarrassing. And it was really funny, actually, because I saw my aunt recently, my mom's sister. And she used to babysit me when I was really little, and she made this joke about me grinding on stuff. And I freaking laughed so hard because I didn't know that she knew I did that. I didn't really know that anybody knew other than my grandma. My grandma caught me, like, grinding on a chair one time. And this used to be so embarrassing for me to admit. The fact that I'm going to put this on YouTube, it's kind of funny. But I'm just so open about it now. It's not embarrassing to me anymore because I think a lot of us have done it in our lifetime. But it made me laugh so hard that she, like, said that, and she goes, oh yeah, you used to grind and stuff. And it's like, why did no one ever talk to me about it? No one ever had a conversation with me like, hey, does that feel good? That's okay, but do that in private. I have that conversation with my boys. My son was running around the other day, and he had a little boner in his room. He's running around naked, and I happened to say, I'm like, do you have a boner? And he's like, what's a boner, Mom? And so I had a conversation with my boys about it. My oldest son is 10 and my youngest is 6. Like, I think it's so important for us to have conversations with our children about sex, about sexuality, about not making it weird. And the thing I was going to get to with the whole pornography thing is that, when we were in tribes, we used to just have sex openly. Like, we would have sex in front of each other. We would have sex with each other. Like, everybody had sex. And that was very primal, and that's what we used to do. Don't worry, guys. She's not going to expose anything I have a bra on. Ooh, what's that? So, when I started thinking about it like that, like, I think that's why a lot of people like to watch porn. Because wanting to watch sex, it's, like, natural for us. And actually, my husband, of course, made me realize this. He's like I swear to God, I think that the universe is speaking through him. I told him this the other day. For a while, I've been realizing that, and I'm like, I just try to, like, mostly listen to him and what he has to say. I'm the observer of his words. But he made me realize that, like, when we were in tribal times, that's what we did when we were in tribes. Men were having sex with all the women in the tribe, and it was natural. Like, there was no jealousy, there was no, and I'm not saying necessarily, like, I want to go back to that. Like, we have gone so far into monogamy, but I think that's why it's really hard for people when they get married. Because when you get that, like, certificate, it's, like, in stone. Like, you're stuck with that person for the rest of your life, man. And me and Matt have had this conversation, like, if we ever felt like we had the need to be with someone else, we would respect each other enough, because I have cheated in my past relationships, and I'm not proud of it, but I've had to forgive myself for that. I've had to do a lot of therapy for that, a lot of digging deep for that. And so I have decided, now I've always wanted to be in a relationship that was completely honest and be forthcoming with my spouse. Have that relationship where we are best friends and we tell each other everything and we're honest with each other. So where I was getting with that is I just think it's interesting, the whole, like, tribal aspect of it, and how we did actually have you know, sex with each other and everyone. And I think that's exactly why so many people want to watch porn, is because it's been almost desensitized. Like, not desensitized, but we don't do that anymore. So we kind of like crave that. And I think that's why a lot of people cheat. That's why, I mean, there's other stuff to that, but is feeling like you're trapped, not being able to have that open dialogue. And I'm not saying that I didn't have that in my past, but it was more about just not knowing who I was, really. But that was basically what I wanted to get with that. I think that as society, as a collective, as a whole, we have gotten so weird about sex. It's gotten super, super weird. By the way, I'm sitting sideways. My shoulders look weird when I do that. We've gotten so weird about sex. Why? So I get the whole thing with, like, I don't know, I guess I still don't understand all this. As far as what I understand, like, Pornhub and porn sites, they're like YouTube, you know? But in the past, they've been like, people are allowed to post whatever they want, and they weren't monitoring it. And so a lot of people have said, like, there's sex trafficking and all this stuff on there. And from my understanding of it is they have had to do more regulations and stuff like that. But, you know, obviously they don't promote that. But I think that there's been so much, like, fear-mongering and, like, this isn't right, you know, that, I don't know, maybe you can give me some feedback on what you think about this. Obviously, kindness is appreciated. Let's have a kind conversation about this. But I think that it's so important for us to not shelter our children from this conversation, and to understand that there is nothing wrong with being sexual. There's actually, I think when we, like, repress it, we say it's not okay, that then we have this weird thing as humans that when someone tells us, Joe Rogan said this the other day, when someone tells us that we can't do something, it makes us want to do it even more. So have the conversation with your kids. Anyway, that was my point, and now this is supposed to be like a small video, and it's 30 minutes long. But if I've lost any of you, thanks. Or if you're still here, thanks for watching to the end. I appreciate you all. And hopefully any of my insight into my life has, like, helped anybody. I don't know. Sometimes I go back and forth about whether I should even keep this channel. So I would really appreciate your comments, and purely just because I want to know if this is, you know, actually helping anybody. And obviously I would appreciate shares if it actually helped you, you know, if you feel some sort of connection to this message that I'm sending, because I think that more of us need to speak out in a positive way about how we feel and what we believe. And it doesn't have to be, like, hurtful to other people's beliefs. We need to be more open to other things, other people's beliefs. And, you know, me and my husband, like, we think so differently in a lot of areas. But the thing that I love about our relationship, I've talked about before, is that we have this communication that's amazing. And sometimes we get frustrated with each other, but more lately I've been like, I just listen more. I listen more, and I try not to have, like, a huge, bad, negative reaction. I'm just like, I never thought about it like that. And I really actually think about what he says. And I think we need to do that more with each other, like everybody in general. Anyway. That's all I've got for today. I have to go start making dinner. And yeah, so I hope that maybe this video possibly helps you a little bit, and I hope that you have a beautiful day. Don't let all this energy in the world take you down. Don't consume it. And with that, I'm sending you a lot of love, light, and peace.